I'm Renee.
And I'm Debbie, and together
We are the Round Table Recap. Hey, welcome back. We are on the Traitors Season 4, Episode 8, and kicking it off from the last episode, it's the awkwardness in the turret. And Alan even comes in and he's like, I sense some awkwardness in my turret.
I know, and then Candiace is like, "Is that what you sense?"
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, Rob's like, well, she had to go. And I mean, it's clear as day. They both now do not trust one another. Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, I labeled this one Rob versus Candiace. I
Yeah.
mean, it's this episode.
hmm Yeah. Yeah, I even was like, tables turning like on this episode because everything now just, yeah, falls apart for them.
Right,
And at this point, though, they have an option. They can either recruit or, get rid of somebody. And I
right.
thought it was smart just to go with the option of getting rid of somebody because obviously they're both at a point where they can't trust one another. So how are they going to recruit someone
I don't know. I think I would have, if I was Candiace, I would have recruited Dorinda.
to have someone else go against Rob?
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like they would have come to an agreement of who to recruit because I feel like they're both playing
right.
on two different sides of the house.
They are.
And
They
yeah,
are.
they both have different alliance members. So I don't feel like they would have been able to
Yeah.
come
Yeah,
into an agreement.
I'm wondering if because, Rob let Candace just have the deciding vote, would he have, if he would have done the same, let her have the deciding vote?
Yeah,
I mean, it would have been worth a shot for her to go for Dorinda,
I don't
right?
know. I don't know if he would have let her do that though, because as you find out, there's a whole reason why he let her have that deciding vote.
Right, right.
Um, So then, okay, so obviously you don't know who they choose, but then they roll into breakfast. And, I like Dorinda's comment about she's like, I was just thought I was having like a girls' weekend with Lisa. Like she's like basically saying, yeah, I'm not playing the game. I'm
Yeah, I don't, I made it past episode one.
yeah, she's just like, I'm just enjoying myself now.
Right,
Yeah. I mean, which is
yeah.
true because Dorinda doesn't really get a lot of airtime in regards to who she suspects
No,
or
but I
anything.
enjoy her. I'm a Dorinda fan anyway, so
Yeah.
yeah, I just enjoy seeing her.
Yeah, I just thought it was her confessional was funny about that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And so now Maura though brings up to the group about Candace and her throwaway vote, which
right.
yeah, again, it feels like it did not
Yeah,
look good on her at all. And I mean, Candace does try to, explain why she voted the way she did,
right.
because she's like, I didn't feel that either of them had like, a compelling enough story. And I knew Rob wasn't going to get voted out. So,
I think if it had been anybody other than Rob, it probably wouldn't have been questioned, but
right. Or like go like vote for someone who else you're suspecting then. Like,
right,
or suspecting, like, so you have at least
right,
a valid reason of why you voted the way you did. Because, yeah, it just goes against what she's been doing all game.
right.
Um, but as I was watching this, because after I was like, oh, what? Colton, I did not see that coming. I did
Hmm.
not think that there was no way Rob was going to let Candace eliminate Colton. Because, I mean,
Oh,
that's his closest ally. I was shocked.
yeah, but he had a reason.
Yeah, he had a reason. But when because you don't know until after, why, Rob did what he did. So I just was, yeah, I'm like, oh, I did
I
not see that one coming.
I think for this episode, I think both Rob and Candace were playing with their emotions more than, you
Strategic.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I mean, obviously Candace, everything she did was based on emotion. And Rob, I think, at this point, he's like, yeah, whatever, let her sink her ship, because he was on Colton's radar and she didn't know it, and he's like, yeah, go, whatever.
Yeah,
He's
which
done with her. He's done with her.
yeah, which is why he let her vote because Colton had already floated the name around.
Right.
But okay, but this was my thing was so Colton only told who was it, Maura and Rob and I think somebody else was there about him suspecting Candiace or Stephen or there was somebody else.
I know he talked to Johnny. I'm not sure who else he.
But then I was thinking, well, if Candiace knew Colton was going after her, who was the one who told Candiace? Because it was a very limited group of who Colton said this in front of.
Mhm.
Unless people just assume Colton probably spread it to multiple people. Like, how would she know? How would she know that Colton was on the radar? Because it was literally just the night before.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It was the night before. Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't like it was an all day event where he had time to talk to
Yeah.
everyone.
I just don't understand her. I mean, I understand her strategy wanting to break up Rob and Colton. I think that's based on emotion. I mean, why did she not throw in somebody? Why did she not vote for somebody or not vote, eliminate somebody that would make Rob look suspicious? I mean, it's hard because he's
Yeah, I
playing.
was like, I don't think there would have been anybody. So this is probably her best option or her best play because those two in the house are too strong.
Yeah, because he supported Natalie. Has he gone after anybody else that's still in the game?
No, no, because at the round tables, he's normally quiet too. He normally doesn't.
Right.
And the only
Yeah,
person that he really spoke up against was Lisa.
yeah, yeah.
Moving after breakfast, this is where Tara and Johnny they're like, why are we still here? Because they're
Oh.
like, who is it? Who is it? And I laughed at that part. I laughed at her confessional with, why am I still here? I'm a terrible player.
Right.
So she was like, people are going to make fun of me. How terrible I am. But now I feel like things are kind of shifting to like Steven's being brought up a little bit more as a possibility.
Did you say about the group that there was Eric, Rob, Stephen, Mark, and Natalie? Well, I guess
No,
that's the five of the six,
that's the dagger group. Yeah,
right?
I
In
call them
that
the dagger
group,
group.
yeah. That Rob had said that Colton was suspicious of Candace,
Hmm.
and then Candace and her group of with Johnny and Kristen, she said that she's suspicious of Rob.
Yep.
So, so it's going to be a showdown between the two of them.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going after one another, that's for sure. Which is no surprising, especially how last episode left off on. Yeah, you knew
Yeah.
Candace, both of them weren't going to let it go. Um, so then moving into the mission, they have the two groups where there was the three of them that went to the gallery, and then the other, well, one group, but split into two, have to act out or a picture of whatever the description is. And I don't know. I think this one was a fun one. This
Yes.
mission.
Yes.
Um, I laughed at some of the comments,
Yeah.
and I, um,
Alan's facial reactions to.
yeah, yeah. So what was it? It was Maura, Dorinda, Tara, and Natalie. They did really good about doing their picture because the people at the gallery, which was Rob, Kristen, and Mark, they got all four of their poses correct.
Yeah, I really think Mara, this is where she excels. I think her facial expressions that really helped, you
Yeah,
know. Yeah, because I think she was the most out of everybody. I think she was the most expressive. So I think she helped her team a lot.
yeah, yeah. She shines at
Yes.
this one. Yeah. Compared to the other
Mhm.
missions. Yeah. But poor Candice, Johnny, Eric, and Steven, they just could not. I can't even remember the one they were like, oh, it looks like Johnny's face was a horse instead of
Yes.
the.
Well,
Poor cow.
And then Johnny had said, because he was supposed to be a cow, and he said, his face doesn't move as much anymore.
Yeah. And then Eric with he was supposed to be a baby, and they're like,
Right.
it kind of looks like a decapitated pig's head. I laughed at that one.
Oh, poor Eric. He was
Yeah.
insulted twice because on that cow one, he put the grass in his mouth, and
Yeah.
he's like, I ate grass. I put allergens.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I This one was cute. I thought the mission
yeah,
was, yeah,
yeah,
was a fun
it
one.
was good.
But the group though, I forgot, was it Kristen, I think, gets the shield because it's only the three of them who gets, yeah, yeah, it's Kristen. I was trying to think.
Yes,
And then that's all I had really for the mission. I
yeah,
just,
yeah, it was just fun. It was just a fun one.
yeah. And then after though, this is where Mark, he's like, it has to be a guy. It has to be a guy that's up there in the turret, which he's talking
Mhm.
to Kristen about. And then Eric to Johnny, he's asking about possibly it being Candiace, but this is where also Johnny's like, I'm thinking there has to be a guy, but he's
Right,
leaning more towards Steven. So
right,
then you're kind
yes,
of like, okay, well maybe, it's gonna be, Steven versus Candiace, because I feel like, yeah, the damage is done as far as Candiace. She's for sure is gonna
right,
be brought up.
right.
Um, but whether or not, they've tried to push Rob enough or not, I think at this point is the question. But you can see though how close Johnny is to Candiace, because at least he gives her a heads up that, her name's floating around, and
Right,
basically to prepare herself for the round table.
right,
Yeah, and then this is where Dorinda brings up the whole thing of the confusion of why Lisa gave her gold to Stephen,
right.
uh, because she's like, I don't feel like they were close, that there was any reason. So it kind of feeds more into possibly Stephen being a traitor as well.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was a good observation. Like I said, she has some good observations. I mean, they're not right, but she has some good observations.
Yeah, which I think we said in another episode too, is yeah, she's what she observes is good. It's just unfortunately it's not right, but yeah, they're
Right,
good. And then I kind of liked how this played out because it was Candace and Steven talking, and they were talking about Colton. And this is where Steven tells Candace, well, Colton was throwing out your name. And so now Candace is like, so Rob knew. And so she essentially, this is where she finds out that she was set up by
hmm
Rob and
right,
getting rid of
right,
Colton. So then who passes by or who comes up? It's Rob. So then Candace is like, wants a word with him
right.
and, confronts him, because obviously she doesn't shy away from, the confrontation or anything.
Mhm.
And yeah, he essentially comes clean about it to her.
Yeah, this is where, yeah, she calls him a snake. He's like,
Mhm.
it's a game. And then she's like, if it looks like I'm going home, your name's coming up. And then calls her saying it's poor sportsmanship. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
See,
So
so they look at the game very differently. Candace looks at it very personal and like a personal attack, and whereas Rob just looks at it like a game. And I think it's actually helping his game that he looks at it that way, because obviously with Candace, her emotions when they get in the way, she's not making good decisions.
yeah, this is true. I mean, I like his gameplay. Don't get me wrong. It's just I just feel like he doesn't help the traders. Like
No,
he's
no, I really hated that he blew up the traders. I really hated that.
but he's playing a really smart game. It's just unfortunately it doesn't help the other traders, his
Right.
gameplay.
Right.
But I mean, I think he has a really good chance though of winning it
Yeah.
as a solo trader. I
Yeah.
think we'll see, because obviously he's going to have to recruit because it's too early to be down to one trader. Um, so maybe that will shift the perspective of how things play out. But otherwise, I feel like he could probably take it just himself, the way he's
Yeah.
flying under the radar and playing.
Oh yeah, yeah. Nobody. He hasn't come up on anybody. I mean, he did say that. Well, we find out at this round table that Candice, she voted for him last time, and she votes again for him this time. And he does worry that her writing his name down twice is going to catch up. So at least he's aware, that that's a possibility. So
Mhm.
hopefully, he will prepare for if that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that's the only going to be the detrimental thing to
Mhm.
his game, but yeah, we'll see. So, going back to the round table,
Yeah.
yeah, Johnny, he, relays like his discussion with Colton in regards to Steven possibly being a traitor. And then this is where Dorinda, she also brings up the whole gold aspect with Lisa. Then it kind of, shifts to obviously Candace, and her vote, and, the whole play on, her being consistent throughout the game. That's what she says she's been doing. And then all of a sudden, she does a throwaway votes.
It would have been better if she wrote down Ron instead of Rob.
Yeah. He's no longer here. We're just going to go with
Yeah,
Ron.
that would be consistent.
Yeah. That would have been too funny. Yeah. They asked because Candace, I'm trying to remember what the conversation was. Oh, because Candace says, well, we went in with Natalie. We were all going to come
Right.
in and vote for
Yeah,
Natalie.
there was a group consensus that everybody was going to vote for Natalie. Yeah.
Yeah. And then everyone's like, well, who said this, to you? And she even hesitates. She's like, Tara. Tara's
I
the one
know.
who brought it to her. I was like,
I was like, what was that about? Like,
yeah.
throw her under the bus. What?
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, man, she was quick to throw out that name. Like
Yeah.
she could have said it was various people who brought it to my attention. Like she could have kind of like
Yeah.
blanketed it in, or at least like threw ran a lot of different people's names or something. Yeah, I kind of didn't like that she just said, "Oh, Tara's the one."
I know.
Who-
But then that creates friction between Natalie and Tara. Natalie thinks that Tara lied to her, and like, man,
yeah,
what was that?
yeah,
uh, I felt bad for Tara.
yeah. But this is where Candace, I thought she had a chance because, she brought up Rob and the fact that, he was nervous and fumbling at breakfast, which I forgot to even mention, because he like drop or what would he tip something or
Yeah,
whatever at the table.
he dropped a fork or something. Like when they found out it was Colton, yeah, he dropped a fork and yeah.
Yeah. And then, questions him um and basically was trying to say, well, I think you were the one who was essentially pulling the strings, and Colton was the front guy of doing whatever wanted. Which I thought was a pretty good argument. I mean, it was a
It was. Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
good
definitely.
case,
Yeah, but
but
then Maura, she only pays attention because it involves
Rob's
Rob.
in there. They're on little traders, little side traders. Yeah.
Yeah, and then but she was like, well, then your vote last night was not a throwaway vote, was it?
Yeah. Yeah. Which again, I felt like did not look good for Candace because it
Yeah,
was at first a throwaway vote, but then all of a sudden now you're going after him.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. In this game, any inconsistency is going to be scrutinized. So the fact that she said two different things,
Yeah. Didn't look good for her.
no.
Yeah. So I mean, it didn't come as a surprise. So I was like, oh, there goes Candace.
Yeah,
She's gone.
yeah. Because
Uh,
up until while Lisa was still in the game, she was playing a really good game.
mhm.
Candace was playing a really good game.
Yeah, she was. And then, yeah. So then after that, though, in the kitchen, they start suspecting Johnny, which I thought was kind of shocking. But yeah, it seems like now everyone is kind of turning, towards Johnny, and the fact that Tara was like, no, it can't be him. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, I don't want them to look at Johnny or Tara.
But
Yeah, but the fact that Johnny was close to Candace, yeah, I mean, it has to be looked at. So,
yeah, and his reaction to her going home, of course, everyone was like, "Ooh, is that because, he's also a traitor with them?" So we'll see if, yeah, come next episode, if, all eyes are on him. But then you learn that, at the end of this episode, like I kind of mentioned before, is time to recruit. And of course, we already know they're not going to be like, oh, I'm leaving. So we already know that the person Rob picks, who is Eric, uh, is going to be the new traitor with him, which I
yeah,
thought was
but
a kind of a smart move. Like trader,
yeah,
Eric's flying under the radar as well. So, and it's another guy. So at least there's that aspect and not a female.
right. Yeah, but Eric, when he got the letter, he's like, "No, I know this is Johnny."
Oh yeah, I know. He's like, I know that writing.
Which
Yeah.
I thought was funny, and then of course, I mean, it ends with Rob revealing, that he's the traitor, and but his expression, which you got to see like maybe 2 seconds of it. Yeah, I just really thought that would be everybody's
Oh
expression
yeah.
at
Yeah.
this point. Yeah,
That's
yeah. I
Rob.
mean, Rob's playing a good game, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Can't fault him. It's taking him, to be the last traitor. So yeah, we'll see how the new duo plays out. I always like the recruiting or the new recruitment of the traitor come to breakfast the next day, because I feel like
yeah,
it's the hardest for them for
yes,
their to handle their reactions and whatnot. So,
yeah.
all right. Well, we will see you guys next
Yay.
time.